We are not talking enough about the potential play calling abilities of Chip Kelley. And the last few days, there have been a ton of reports from NFL insiders who were at training camp that have a lot of positive things to say about how this looks and specific offense archetypes that Chip Kelley is implementing. And I know there was some hesitancy when we brought him in at the beginning, especially making him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the National Football League. But anytime he struggled being in the NFL, that was because of his head coaching duties. Now that he can come in and focus on calling plays for the weaponry that we have, it can unlock even another level for this team. And that's what I want to get into today. We are going to be talking specifically about a type of offense that Chip Kelley is going to implement. We've got ALLaBorde Raiders talking about the offense that he saw firsthand when he was there in training camp. And then we have some tweets that led me down a rabbit hole to a little bit of research that I do think is going to be very valuable once we get into this video. So before we get into that, I just want to say, hit that like button, comment away. It does help tremendously. We are less than 300 away from 14,000, which again, I didn't think we would be able to hit before the new league year, but it's looking like a possibility. We're making that final push. If you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, about 50% of my viewership watches but is not yet subscribed. It helps out tremendously. We're trying to grow this thing. Videos all the time. Here we go. Talk to me, ALLaBorde Raiders.
So this is kind of like an interesting anecdote, right? Like, because I was sitting with a couple other guys later in the day, and I said, man, like the offense looks smooth and efficient. And one of the guys said to me as we're sitting there, yeah, that was our sloppiest day of training camp so far. And so like that kind of hit me like, wow, like Gino had to throw to Jacoby Myers at the end of practice. That was like a seam route down the middle. And it just looked so smooth the way the play ran. You know, it was just, all right, like Gino, snap, sees it, ball's out, like decisively thrown down the middle of thrown down the seam for a touchdown, and the offense wins. I think they were in 2-minute drill at the end of practice. And
okay, so right off the rip, and I'm just comparing this to the training camp reports that we heard last offseason, because like I said, you have to take all these reports with a massive grain of salt. The best thing you can do is compare them to what we've seen in the past and try to see what happened with our team. Last year, there wasn't a lot of reports praising the offense. It was more so like, God, this defense is smoking the offense, and Luke Getsy was fired like 6 games in. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying, well, wouldn't these offensive reports show you that maybe, the defense just isn't looking that good? You could say that on a contextual level, but if you look into what the reports are saying, ALLaBorde Raiders didn't say, God, the offense just smoked the defense. What he said was it was a smooth operating offense. In the huddle, out of the huddle, play executed, touchdown Raiders. He didn't say, God, they're putting up 30 on the first team defense. Now, our defense is going to take a step back compared to what it was when it was fully healthy last year. But our offense feels night and day at an operational level. If Luke Getsy was down here, and yes, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I like to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Did not work out. If Luke Getsy's down here, Chip Kelley is all the way up here. That's a 4-minute video on the Sports Illustrated YouTube channel. Go check it out if you want to see the rest. I'm not going to play the rest just for copyright. I don't want to steal their whole video. The idea that Chip Kelley has been able to mold the perfect system for Gino, for Ashton, for Brock, for Jack, for Dante, for Jacoby, for Trey, for Michael Mayer is so much more important when you factor in that the people that are running the offense knows what they're doing. And if we take it a step further here, this was a tweet by Levi Edwards. I think this was during the mock game. And we'll probably read a bunch of different reports here. Chip Kelley is doing the Lord's work in 12 personnel today. Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers have accounted for 7 catches on 2 drives. And then Aaron Davis below. I just got an interesting email. Sorry. Could the best tight end room in the league could be the best tight end? I can't read a single thing. Could be the best tight end room in the league this year. God, I'm not going to edit that out. I'm going to keep it in so you could see that I struggle just like everybody else. And then we've got a bunch of other tweets by Levi Edwards that we're just going to pull up here. But I want you to keep that in mind. 12 personnel. That is what we're going to be talking about that we've done a lot of research on. So Levi had some practice tweets today. Geno Smith gave Trey Tucker a glowing pro comp after practice. Miami Hurricanes and Washington Commanders legend Santana Moss. For the youngins out there, if you don't know who Santana Moss was, he was an absolute slot wide receiver dog. And the idea that someone like a Geno Smith can unlock Trey Tucker's potential is huge. Because, ALLaBorde Breer, I think he says this in the video that I just played you a little bit later in the video, I think a minute and a half later. He says a lot of guys around the league are saying Trey Tucker could be unlocked this year because he finally has a quarterback that can consistently get him the ball down the field. Like, he would have been pretty good with Derek Carr. He would be great with Patrick Mahomes. He would be great with Josh Allen or Jordan Love, guys with rocket arms. And Geno's got an upper half arm in the National Football League. And we saw what Trey Tucker can do with Aiden a little bit. Geno is obviously leaps and bounds better than Aiden. So now Trey Tucker being unlocked, again, this offense is coming together. If we continue to go down here, everyone will be ready to go. Pete Carroll, if the Stars will play in the first preseason game. That still doesn't mean they're going to play. Everyone's like, oh, Geno's going to play. It's like, well, he said everyone will be ready to play. I don't know if they're actually going to play. Geno Smith just completed a crazy no-look pass to Jack Besh on a slant. He looked like he was about to pull the trigger on a deep ball to Colin Johnson with his eyes in that direction. Interesting. Stop me if you've heard this before. Geno Smith finds Brock Bowers for a touchdown during red zone drills. The tight end found an open spot in coverage near the back of the end zone. Smith zipped it in there. Here's a little bit of film here, dropping it in the bucket to none other than, I think that was Zachary Besh. Obviously, his name's not Zachary, but it kind of flowed like Zachary. Dante Thorne, touchdown, red zone drills. The route tree is certainly expanding. Defense comes away with their first interception of the day. Eric Stokes blankets Brock Bowers in the red zone and comes away with the pick. Focus up on that 12 personnel because that's really what I want to talk about here. I do think Luke Getsy wanted to run a lot of 12 last year, and we couldn't because of what was going on with Big Mike. Now, Big Mike being back, and all signs and reports are saying that Michael Mayer is every bit as advertised as we thought he was going to be when he entered the league. He'd probably start for 25 teams in the National Football League if he was their tight end. The word on the street was that the Dolphins were trying to trade for Michael Mayer because they were trading Jonnu Smith, and we were like, no, thank you. That just shows you how much we value him. Ian Thomas apparently has looked great as well. So I did some research here, and I found some teams that ran 12 personnel successfully over the last few seasons. We got the Kansas City Chiefs, Eagles, Vikings, Ravens, Lions, Browns, and Saints. The Chiefs in 2024, 2025 last year ran at 34% of the time. Top 10 EPA per play in 12 personnel sets. So you're thinking, what the heck is EPA? Well, I'll explain it to you here. EP is expected points. Based on historical data, every down distance and field position combination has an average point value. Here's the example. First and 10 at your own 25 might be worth 0.3 expected points. You're expected to score 0.3 points on that play. While first and goal from the opponent's 2-yard line might be worth an expected 6.4 expected points. Expected points added, EPA, is after a play. The new situation also has an expected point value. EPA per play, average EPA across all in situations like 12 personnel, higher EPA per play equals more effective plays. So now if we go back to the teams that ran the high usage, they were top 10 EPA per play in 12 personnel. Philadelphia Eagles 50+% in 2024, 75% success rate. High usage for the Vikings in 2023, 81.6 PFF grade, top yard/play, and success rate. So you're seeing a lot of teams that score a lot of points. The 2022 Cleveland Browns, the Detroit Lions, right, in 2024, led NFL in scoring, top 4 yards per play. None of these teams have 2 tight ends that are at the level of our 2 tight ends. They have a great tight end, like, for example, the Detroit Lions have Sam Laporta or Travis Kelce, right, or TJ Hawkinson or Mark Andrews. The Baltimore Ravens have tight ends probably as close as you can get to the other teams in comparison to what we have at tight end. They have Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. We have 2 better tight ends, but they are the closest of all these teams. But if you're wondering what the records were for those teams, Kansas City 15-2, Philadelphia 11-6, Vikings 7-10, Baltimore Ravens 13-4, Detroit Lions 15-2, Cleveland 7-10, Saints 9-8. So what this means is when you are successful with 12 personnel, you can have a competent offense. The problem is for teams like the Vikings, the teams like the Browns, to the Saints for a lesser degree, they didn't have other avenues other than that 12 personnel to be successful. The Vikings had Justin Jefferson, but Kirk Cousins was significantly hindering and limiting their ability to get the ball down to the field to him. And the same thing with their running game in 2022 wasn't great. In 2022, the Cleveland Browns, that's not some all-time offense, right? It was fine. They didn't have a playmaker other than these sets and Nick Chubb, which is probably how they got a lot of their 12 personnel efficiency out there, running the ball with Nick Chubb. We've got 2 great tight ends and a potential great running back and a quarterback that is better than Kirk Cousins 2013 or whoever was on the Browns in 2022. Was that still Baker Mayfield? I don't quite remember. Obviously, Geno Smith isn't better than Jalen Hurts or Lamar or Jared Goff or Patrick Mahomes, which is why these teams win 15 games, right? Or the Eagles 11 games. But if we can continue to hammer home this idea of 12 personnel, which is tight end, Gentry in the backfield, and then you've got speed on the outside with Dante and Trey Tucker, or you've got Jack or Jacoby Myers, you have no idea how endless the options could be. And Albert Breer said as much. There's just going to be people running wide open. And all Geno has to do is continue to do what he said that this offense was trying to be: efficient and explosive. So before I talk a little bit about the Jacorian Bennett trade, which is the last thing we're going to talk about, I want you guys to know, 725-253-0264, we do a call-in show once a week. You can leave a voicemail, and I will answer any question that you have. If you want to call in live, like people do from time to time, you have to become a $5 patron. To sign up for my Patreon, it'll be linked in the description below. It is also the pinned comment along with my Discord that you can join for free. Hello, testing 1 2. Okay, we're still here. I thought I muted my microphone. So there's that number right there. Patreon.com/ALLaBorde Raiders, like I mentioned. We got your name at the end of the credits. You get videos days in advance. You get ad-free content. You get exclusive content. And you get to call in. Shout out to my $5 and $10 patrons. We're still waiting for that 30th member to join. Who will it be? I'm excited to see. That's bars. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. Eagles acquire cornerback Jacorian Bennett from the Raiders in exchange for defensive tackle Thomas Booker. The Eagles and Raiders have spiced up training camp with the trade. Philadelphia is acquiring cornerback Jacorian Bennett from the Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for defensive tackle Thomas Booker. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported Monday evening. A 4th-round pick in 2023, Bennett heads to the reigning Super Bowl champs as the most experienced starter of the 2 players involved in that swap. He's played 24 games for Las Vegas with 11 starts, including 7 last season. He had 58 career tackles and 11 passes defended. Blah, 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 blah. That's about the Eagles. Booker, meanwhile, is a 2022 5th-round draft pick of the Texans who appeared in 17 regular season games. 1 start for the Eagles last season. He contributed 18 tackles and a sack. His addition to the Raiders beefs up options along the front seven's interior, which was recently altered by the release of Christian Wilkins. It's not necessarily a seismic swap for either squad, but as rosters begin to take shape and training camp progresses, these are the kind of moves that clubs will make to get every bit out of their eventual 53-man roster. So what do I feel about this? It's a shame that we got rid of JB, but if you believe the reports out of training camp, he was like cornerback 4 in the depth chart. You had Stokes, Porter, DeCam, which passed him, and then you've got Jacorian Bennett. And he just didn't fit that mold of the tall, lanky corner. That's why we got Woods, right? The free agent from the Chargers, who kind of fits that mold. I wish him nothing but the best, but this tells me 2 things. Number 1, We're still concerned about that D tackle room in terms of depth. We've got players who can be impact like Tyree and Adam Butler. We don't know how the rookies are going to do. If the rookies are not yet ready, we need people like Lecky Fotu or Jonah Lalau to step up. And now Booker, right, is just another guy to place in there, to plug in there, that can compete. And number two, they really trust in the corners on this team. For the longest time, we've been saying they need to go sign someone. Mike Hilton. Asante Samuel Jr. They just haven't brought in anybody. In fact, they got rid of somebody, which means they believe in this group. If DCAM has taken another step, that's massive. If Porter is as advertised, that's massive. What we have to understand is Chip Kelly said, Pete Carroll said, he's not afraid to play rookies, right? He's not a play to fray. That's what I just said. He's not afraid to play rookies. What we have to expect is these rookies to make mistakes. I know everybody's expecting to win the Super Bowl if you're in the National Football League, but this team right now isn't a true Super Bowl contender. There's a lot to be learned, and there's a lot of growing that has to be done. And these rookies are going to make mistakes, but it's only going to help them further. Ashton Genty will make mistakes. Dante Thornton will make mistakes. Geno Smith will make mistakes. Throwing these rookies out there is going to gain them confidence. It's going to show them what the NFL is like. And hopefully by midway through the season, toward the end of the season, they make less and less mistakes and they're able to stay on the field. But I'm excited to see this physical cornerback play. I'm excited to see Chip Kelly's offensive play calling style and 12 personnel impacted. What are your guys' thoughts on all this? Leave your comments below. Like I said, hit that like button and comment. It helps tremendously. Join the Patreon. Join the Discord. That is linked below. And please be sure to subscribe. It is free after no charge to you. I love you guys. And I'll see you next time.